I am not the Black Eyed Peas, but boy do I got a feeling that the new Taylormade MG5 wedges are going to be really effing good. So this week we actually got our first official look at the new Taylormade Milled Grind 5 wedges. They made their debut on tour this week across all global tours. And can we just appreciate for a second how good the Taylormade wedge aesthetics are? I would make the argument, and I'm a Vokey Glazer, better than Vokey right now. Now, a really unique thing about the MG5 and something I'll be looking at as these come closer to retail, so hopefully I have more info soon, is the difference in the muscle pads. So you can see in the MG5, they actually lowered the muscle. Now, most companies are going the opposite of this, and in the MG4, the muscle was higher because you're trying to enhance vertical gear effect, make the wedge launch a little bit lower with a little bit more spin. So we'll see why they did that. I'm not 100% sure. But this right here might give us part of the reason why. You can see the new MG5s are going to be forged. The MG4 was cast, so it's very possible they lowered that muscle to try to enhance feel and make these feel a lot better than the MG4s. Now, when we look at these side by side, the one thing I've always complained about when it comes to Taylormade wedges is really the way the Hazel transitions into the leading edge. You can see it's a hair goosenecky. It's not my favorite look. But where I give Taylormade a lot of credit this year is the fact that it looks like the new MG5 is going to have a much more rounded toe. That was my biggest complaint with the MG4. When you went to open up an MG4, especially in a 60, it did not look like a club that should be hit high and soft around the greens. It looked like an iron. And then the other thing I'll be looking at between these two wedges is just the difference in grooves and face texture. You can see on the MG4, they've got a little bit of a wider groove edge, and on the MG5, it's a little bit narrower. So obviously the hope is that they were able to find a way to amplify spin. Maybe it's just tighter manufacturing tolerances. That's always a good thing. As far as the actual face texture, the MG4 was touted as having these spin tread grooves that were able to push moisture away from the face. I never really felt like they did the best job of that, if we're being completely frank. But on the MG5, it does look a hair more aggressive, so hopefully these are a little bit better in wet conditions. From what I've heard, these are already in the bag of Ben Griffin, who's a free agent, Carl Phillips, Nick Dunlap, Luke Clanton, Charlie Hull, and Nelly effin Corda. And by the way, when I'm talking about the aesthetics, that is the cleanest wedge I think I've ever seen in my life. The MG logo is so fire. I can already smell the SM7 comparison comments, and yeah, they're very similar, but I would say I think the Taylormade aesthetic is better. The one logo is very clean, and I love this kind of matte brush chrome finish Taylormade does. It is extremely premium in person. SM7 also had that very noticeable visual difference in the pad thickness where it moved higher in the higher lofts. In the MG5, it stays here no matter the loft.